Welcome to Second Opinion, the reviews show here on the Nexus. I am your host, Ian R. Buck, and today I will be reviewing the Delta X Mount Pro phone holster. Find the show notes for this episode at thenexus.tv/SO99. Alright, so this is a bike phone holster that mounts under your stem cap, which is a pretty unique design. Most phone holsters that I've seen, they clamp onto your handlebars at some point, but mounting it onto your stem cap seems like a pretty convenient and secure, and it doesn't take up as much space, so it seems like a good solution to me. I'm seeing this phone holster being sold for around $25 most places. First up, let's talk about grip strength, because that's not dropping your phone is basically this thing's job. So, because it is getting screwed in under your stem cap, there is absolutely no chance that this mount is going to fall off of the bike. And then, of course, the other end of the equation is that it has to hold on to your phone. It does so with I want to call it a rubber net, but they're really just four little rubber loops that grip the corners of your phone. Those feel very sturdy. I have no worries about them coming undone or snapping or anything like that. So I definitely would say that this thing gets an A+ for grip strength. As for which phone sizes it is compatible with, it seems like it should fit pretty much every smartphone of just about any size. I have only really tested it with my Pixel 3, the standard size, but the loops are large enough that I think it should fit around XL or plus-sized phones as well. Durability. So this thing has no moving parts, which is very comforting for me. That generally is where you get failure points. It doesn't come with any extra parts, so maybe any of the weaker aspects of this, you won't be able to easily replace them if something does go wrong. One of the really nice things about it being mounted under your stem cap is that it is very unlikely to be stolen. My brother has had a different phone holster stolen off of his bike when he had it locked up at work, and that was the type that just clamps itself onto the handlebars, but nobody really walks around with an Allen wrench, which is what you would need to unscrew the stem cap here. And honestly, if somebody is walking around with an Allen wrench and they are willing to steal accessories off of a bike, man, they could really steal a hell of a lot of stuff off of my bike, which, now that I'm thinking about it, is probably not the best thing in the world. The first X Mount Pro that I bought did break after a few months of use, and I know exactly why that is. So whenever I flip my bike over to do any service on the wheels or the tires or replace an inner tube or whatever, the phone mount sticks out a little farther than the handlebars, and so all of the weight of the bike gets pressed down onto one spot on the aluminum arms. And so they get weakened in this one particular spot. Every single time that I flip the bike over, it's bending the arms at that exact same spot. And so that weakened them, and then later on during a bumpy ride, the arms snapped right at that point. I have thought about how I could fix this, because the arms are made of aluminum. I suspect that it should be possible to just solder or weld them back together, but right now, because we're not going into school or anything like that, I don't have access to any soldering irons around here. So I tried to use some crazy glue to stick them back on, but that didn't last very long. It lasted for half a week before that fell apart. So, yeah. Final miscellaneous thoughts. So, one of the biggest disadvantages of this phone mount is that it's not adjustable at all. It just, you screw it into the stem cap, and then wherever whatever angle it's sitting based on that, that's where it's going to be. The Roam Copilot, which was the old phone holster that I used to use, that one had a ball joint, and I could like swivel it around in just about any angle that I wanted. I could even swivel it so much that I would be able to like take pictures of stuff in front of my bike without taking my phone out of the phone holster, which was a pretty nice feature. There's no chance of doing that with the X Mount Pro. That being said, though, like the angle at which it is sitting relative to my handlebars is pretty much perfect for me to be able to see the screen while I'm riding, so no real complaints there. That's just like a minor little thing. So even though mine broke, I've been looking around at other models of phone holsters, and I haven't been able to find anything that looks like it's quite as stable as this one that, screws into a stem cap. I really like that feature. And I haven't been able to find anything else that's like comparable in that same price range. So I am buying a second X Mount Pro, and I'm going to continue using that one, and I'll just be very, very careful whenever I need to like flip my bike over. I'll probably just unscrew this phone holster so that it doesn't have to take any of that weight. So I'll update this episode if I ever have further, thoughts. If the second one breaks as well, even though I was being very careful with it, like I'll definitely make a note of that here. But I'm pretty sure, I'm like 95% confident that I'm not going to have any problems. Thanks for listening to this episode of Second Opinion. I have been your host, Ian R. Buck. You can find me on Twitter as Ian R. Buck. This episode is released under a Creative Commons Attribution license, so you can feel free to use this episode, any parts of it, as you see fit, as long as you link back to the original page, which again is thenexus.tv/SO99. If you'd like to discuss this episode with other listeners, you can do so on our subreddit at reddit.com/r/thenexustv. Second Opinion is supported by listeners like Quentin Pongratz, who voluntarily joined us on Patreon to help us financially as we continue to make technology-focused podcasts. Until next time, have a good one.
The Nexus
TV.
podcasts from the Technological Convergence.